V37 is part one of a 2-day lesson on graphing and writing inequalities with one variable. Today we're just going to preview writing inequalities, and tomorrow will be on graphing. So underline writing inequalities on slide 215 because that's what this video will cover. So when writing inequalities, you're pretty much translating in the exact same way that you would in writing equations, except instead of having an equal sign between both sides of the equation, now we have an inequality. So you'll have a greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, or less than or equal to, instead of an equal sign. So some important words that you'll see in this lesson are is more than. For example, Trenton is more than 10 miles away. Well, they're not equal. Trenton is not the same distance away. So instead, we have to translate it to T for Trenton is more than, greater than 10 miles. So T is greater than 10 would be the translation. Same thing is greater than sample sentence A is greater than B, and that's pretty simple to translate. A greater than B. Must exceed, again, means it has to be more than, so you'll have a greater than sign, and must exceed gets confusing for some people, so the speed limit must exceed 25 miles per hour. That means the speed is greater than 25 miles per hour, and greater than means S for speed is greater than 25. Slide 217 covers some other symbols that you'll be using. So cannot exceed, for example, time cannot exceed 60 minutes. That means you can't do 61, 62, 63 minutes. That'll be too much. So time must be less than or equal to 60 minutes. Time would be T. T is less than, and there should be an equal sign in between there. T is less than or equal to 60. So please underline and change that symbol. T is less than or equal to 60. Next one is at most. So at most, 7 students were late for class. So when you think of translating that, at most, 7 students were late. So this means were 8 students late? No, because it's at most 7. So that means you could have 7, 6, 5, 4 students late. So 7 or fewer students were late for class. And that means N for your students has to be less than or equal to 7. And finally, is at least is going to be an equal to. So Bob is at least 14 years old. That means Bob can be 14, he can be 15, 16, 17, and so on. So Bob's age is greater than or equal to 14, and the variable B for Bob, Bob's age is more than or equal to 14. Slide 218 goes through a whole list of inequalities, and this is the translation part. On the right, underneath the gray screen, is going to be the written word. So how would you read this? 2 plus 2 is greater than 3. 2 plus 2 is greater than or equal to 3. 2 plus 2 is greater than or equal to 4. 2 plus 2 is less than 5. 2 plus 2 is less than or equal to 5. And 2 plus 2 is less than or equal to 4. That's just some practice on how you would read your inequalities. So now rather than translating equations, we're translating inequalities. So let's translate each statement. X is less than 10. Well, we're going to drop down the X and we're going to drop down the 10. And less than is the symbol that falls in between. So X and 10 drop down and the less than symbol is in between. So therefore X is less than 10. Next one, 20 is greater than or equal to y. So you're going to drop down 20, you're going to drop down the y, and then you need to figure out the symbol greater than or equal to. So 20 is greater than or equal to y. Slide 220 has a bunch of examples that we're going to translate. So first we have to identify what our terms are going to be. Number one, first term is 14 is greater than, that's what we need to translate, a, which is our second term. So we have our 14 and we have our a, and we just need to figure out what goes in between. Is greater than is right here. So 14 is greater than a would be the correct translation. Next one, number 2, b is less than or equal to 8. So we have our term b and we have our term 8, and we need to translate b is less than or equal to 8. So we pull out our b and we pull out our 8, and less than or equal to is this symbol. So b is less than or equal to 8 is the proper translation. Now they get a little bit tricky. 6 is less than the product of f and 20. So I need to figure out is less than is going to be my symbol, but what are my terms? Well, one term is 6, and the other term is going to be the product of f and 20. So product means I'm multiplying, and so the other term would be f times 20. And if I want to flip that around, f times 20, because it's a variable, the 20 is the coefficient, that goes first, times f, so I do 20f. And so now I need to figure out if my two terms are 6 and 20f is less than symbol, goes in between. So my translation is 6 is less than the product of 20 and f. 6 is less than 20f. Go ahead and try number 4, 5, and 6 on your own right now. 4, 5, and 6. When you're finished with number 6, I want you to write your initials on the page with an exclamation point. We'll go over 7, 8, 9 together in class. Slide 221 is asking us to translate our expressions. So double a number is at most 4. First of all, double a number is one term, and 4 is our second term. So do I know what double a number is? I don't know what that number is going to be, but double it means that I have to do 2 times a number. Well, what do I do when I don't know the number? It would be 2 times a variable, so I could use n for number, and 2 times n, I don't need that symbol, it's just 2n. So double a number translates to 2n. Now my next term is easy, that's just 4. So I have 2n as one term and I have 4 as the other term. But at most is the tricky part. So what symbol is at most? At most means that double a number, the highest it can be is 4. So it's going to be less than 4, or the highest it can be is 4. So therefore the symbol is less than or equal to 4. So double a number is at most 4. 2n is less than or equal to 4. Next one, 3 plus a number is at least 6. So first we have to figure out what our terms are. 3 plus a number. So the 3 is easy, plus is easy. A number would just become any variable, so we could use n again. So my first term, 3 plus a number, is 3 plus n. My next term is 6, which is pretty easy. So one term in the inequality is 3 plus n, the other term is 6. Now I have to figure out what my symbol is in the middle. Is at least. So is at least means that it can be 6, but at least 6. So it could be 7, 8, 9, and so on. So it can be 6, but it can also be more than 6. So therefore, it's going to be a greater than or equal to. So 3 plus a number is at least 6 translates to 3 plus a number is greater than or equal to 6. Please write skip on the top of slide 222. We're going to go over these in class together tomorrow. Slide 223 models a word problem. So a store's employee earns at least $7.50 per hour. We have to define a variable and write an inequality for the amount the employees must earn per hour. So at least is going to be our center. That's going to be the symbol that we need. At least. $7.50 per hour. And they make at least $7.50. So they could make $7.50, they could make $8, they could make $8.50. So the employee earns E, and it's at least, which actually should again be underlined. So it can be $7.50 or more. So E is greater than or equal to $7.50 or 7.5. And this models a graph, but don't worry about that just yet. We're going to learn that in tomorrow's video. Next slide, 224. The speed limit on a road is 55 miles per hour. So we have to figure out a variable, and if it's for the speed limit, then our variable could be S. So the speed limit is going to be S. On a road, doesn't really matter. Is 55 miles per hour. So our second term is going to be 55, but the is our symbol. Now this is trying to trick you. Is a tiny little word that we talked about means equals. So S equals 55. It's actually not an inequality. It's an equation. Please pause the video and try slide 225 on your own. You are finished with V37. Please write stop in large letters on slide 225. We'll go over the rest of the questions together in class tomorrow.